minute. Hey, Audrey.
Where are you?
From Corky's in Memphis, one of our sponsors.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah, let me bring Jimmy on here with us. Hang on one sec. Okay, stand by.
Hello.
Hey, man, just giving you a call. Alter these sound levels. Make sure you get your phone up to like 90% if you'll remember to do that. Alter these levels correct. Okay, I'm going to bring you on here with Wes Moore, okay? We're going to start off with the Arkansas deal. Okay. Okay. Hey, Wes, got Jimmy Hodge on here with us. So make sure, Wes, your phone is turned up to like about 90% volume so we make it all comes through loud and clear. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let me tell you. Yeah. All right.
Is that good? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. You ready? Okay. About 10 seconds, guys. Okay, it's a Friday afternoon edition, www.sidelines.live. We're broadcasting from one of our sponsors here, Corky's Barbecue in Memphis, the home office, Poplar, right near White Station. And they're open again, indoor dining. And I'm telling you, Jimmy, Wes, I'm smelling right by the kitchen, and I can smell the barbecue in the pit. It is just absolutely intoxicating. But we're going to be talking a lot about what is going on here. Of course, Thanksgiving coming up Thursday. They've got the hickory smoked whole turkey, $39.99 plus tax. Hickory smoked turkey breast, $39.99 plus tax. Spiral sliced honey glazed ham, $49.99 plus tax. Turkeys and hams are cold. Turkeys, hams, and feasts serve 8 to 10 people. If you order and prepay by November 23rd, that is Monday, you'll get $5 off. You can order online at corkysbbq.com. That's CORKYSBBQ.com. So enter coupon code THANKS in all caps to receive the discount. And so, we're here right now with you from 3 to 5 Central, 4 to 6 on the East Coast. We're going to start off with Wes Moore with a Razorback report, followed by him shortly after that, Rodney Orr, Tider Insider. From Atlanta, after that, 3:40, Frank Duffy, Mr. LSU for the LSU Tiger Report. 4 o'clock, we'll go to Josh Ward from WTVK, the sports animal up in Knoxville. Find out if that ship that is just without a sail and a rudder, the Tennessee football team, where they're going. They're heading down to Auburn tomorrow for a game. 4:30, we'll go down and talk with Jason Caldwell inside the Auburn Tigers. And again, Jimmy Hodge, national college football contributor from Chicago, is on with us. And let's get right to it. Big one tomorrow night. They're all big. It's a 10-game conference-only season up in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and LSU. And Wes, the stage is set. Arkansas can get back to 500.
Man, this is big. And, I'll tell you the big story around here is that COVID. Arkansas had some positive cases this week. And then the quarantine of members of the team leaves them very, very thin. And Coach Pittman had a press conference yesterday, and he told us that as of yesterday, the game was on and they were going to play, but they were very thin at certain positions. I've learned it's on the defensive line. And this morning, they got their test results back, and we were all waiting on word from the University of Arkansas. And Sam Pittman and Hunter Yurchek tweeted out kind of a cryptic tweet saying, "Can't wait to see you here at Reynolds Razorback Stadium tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. We need to be loud." So that let us know, hey, the game is on. The test results came back negative, which was a big positive for Arkansas, because guys, they're so thin that if they'd had a couple more negative or positive results and some more quarantining, they wouldn't have been able to play this game. So we do not know which players are out, if it's, reserves or starters. Now, I know on the defensive line there are several starters out, and they're going to have to play with some reserves and backup roles. But it could change the game when we start seeing who's on the field and who's not on the field tomorrow for Arkansas.
Well, the game last weekend, before we go to Jimmy, 63-35. Arkansas we were worried when we talked last week about getting into a track meet with Florida, and it just wasn't going to work out, and it didn't. But what was the takeaway from that game, at least with Arkansas in the first half, the way they played with Florida? Because to me, it seemed like the longer the game went on, just Arkansas's lack of depth was, really, spotlighted by Florida's depth and just overall speed.
I tell you, the takeaway here in Arkansas was Trask is really good. He's one of the best quarterbacks in college football. And Florida offensively is one of the best in college football. And this was a case of tipping your hat to the opponent and going, you know what? That's where Arkansas wants to be one day. They're not there right now. That's a very good football team. And Arkansas had to play almost perfect offensively, as you said, and get into the track meet to have a chance. And they couldn't do it, and we talked about slowing the game down. Unfortunately for Arkansas, they had 3 drives. They had, the 83-yard run or 83-yard pass play for a touchdown, an 82-yard touchdown run. They had another 47-yard touchdown pass. So 3 of their touchdowns were quick play strikes, and all that does is give Florida the ball back quickly.
Yeah, and that's kind of a scary thought. Kyle Trask is just amazing too, because I think Dan Mullen, Lane Kiffin, and Mike Leach, and he's struggling, but especially Kiffin and Mullen are the 2 best quarterback coaches in college football, and Kiffin may be the best play caller. Jimmy Hodge in Chicago, I know you want to weigh in right now. You got some thoughts, and we're on with Wes Moore, ESPN 103.7 The Buzz in Little Rock. He hosts a daily sports radio show all over Arkansas. And by the way, Wes, opening day, 'twas the night before duck season, and all through the South, not a creature was stirring. Just a lot of duck hunters I feel like a 9-year-old kid on Christmas Eve wanting that Schwinn 10-speed, man. But I digress, and let's go to Jimmy Hodge.
Well, I think in regard to last week's game, that was the best game I've seen Florida play. They were just clicking on all cylinders. And I think what surprised everybody was just how some of the some new stars have arrived and their skill position set. Everybody thought, man, this is going to put a big crimp in their offense with Pitts out for 2, maybe 3 weeks, possibly longer. But yet you had some of these other players that had just been waiting for an opportunity to shine. Gamble, Grimes, Shorter, Pierce, Wright, Davis. These guys all showed up as an integral part of the passing game. And, they're a team coming off that huge win over Georgia. And anytime you've been on the short end of a losing streak, it's very difficult, I think, for the team that has lost 3 or 4 years in a row to get over that hump. But boy, once you get over it, you find yourself flying high. And again, they were almost perfect against Arkansas. But at the same time, the Hogs, they played hard for 60 minutes. They gave it their best shot. And I think it really hurt them that Sam wasn't able to be there after testing positive for the virus, because it prevented Odom from just concentrating solely on what he normally does, and that's just making sure the defense is ready to play. He had to focus on the entire roster, so that was obviously time consuming for him. So it wasn't an ideal situation for him, but coming into this game, again, having Sam back is just a big factor. And just like I said, Odom's been able to focus on getting the defense ready. Arkansas, I think, they're very confident. They had success offensively last week against a top 5 team. And they've proven throughout the year that they can play with anybody, and they see themselves, I think, winning this game. I think they feel they're maybe not as good talent-wise, but as far as chemistry-wise and being able to play together as a team, I think Arkansas is going to win this game. Whereas on the other end, I see a lot of uncertainty. a lot of players on the LSU side of the coin, looking for direction. You don't have Brennan for the rest of the year. They're going to go, it appears, to be Finley for the rest of the season, and they're just trying to figure things out. So I really like Arkansas in this game. And to give you an idea how much difference a year can make, Wes, I believe last year that LSU was favored by 42 in this game.
44.
44?
Yeah. 42, and Arkansas opened as a 2-point favorite, and it was a 44-point swing. Since then it's been bet down, and it's either a pick'em game or LSU's favored by about a point. But yeah, you're right. It has swung the other way dramatically.
Well, Wes, when you think about Arkansas right now, they're 3-4. This is a chance to pull to 500. Getting to 500, you're going to get a bowl this year, and you're going to get those extra 20 days of practice. And that is what's so critical. This Arkansas team, they're hanging in there. The morale, it's great. They really love playing for Sam Pittman. I have a question. How much did it hurt last week with Barry Odom not being the defensive coordinator per se and having to be the head coach? Because when you're a head coach, you really don't get to coach that much most of the time. Though Chip Kelly, a great offensive mind when he was at Oregon, Nick Saban at Alabama, he's always going to be the defense. Whoever the coordinator is, it's still Saban. But was that an issue at all?
They had to hurt. I mean, you got to realize that, Odom is spending time normally, talking with his defense while the offense is out there. And it's hard to do that when you're acting as a head coach. Not once did they use that as an excuse or even bring that up. They stayed away from it. Coach Pittman just said all week how great of a job Coach Odom did, and everything that he did in the game, whether it was a 4th down call, he agreed with and would have done the same thing. So not once have they mentioned that or used that as an excuse, but I'm with you. I believe that had to impact the defense and Coach Odom at some point. So,
all right, what about
go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just saying, what about the offensive line too? Because Sam Pittman, again, he's the head coach, but he's got his hands all over that game plan with the offensive line. His track record is incredible. The number of players that he has coached up, I think 17 of his linemen have gone on to play in the NFL.
I really don't think it hurt the offensive. In fact, the offensive line had a pretty good game. They had several big runs, a couple touchdown runs, and did a fairly good job of protecting Felipe Franks. He has a lot of faith in Brad Davis. That was his first hire, as far as a position coach. He knew right away who he wanted as his offensive line coach, and it was Brad Davis. So he has a lot of faith in him. So I'm not going to put anything on the offensive line on Pittman being gone. I think that was a case of, more than anything, it was more of a defensive failure giving up that many points.
Yeah, and I think that LSU, Jimmy, you talked about this with their quarterback situation. They're going to go in. How do you attack Arkansas if you're LSU? This LSU team is loaded with talent. We know that. But they're really – the players, they haven't come together as a team. You still have defensive backs wandering around. They don't know where they're supposed to be. And something that I've noticed, a lot of times you will see, highlights of an LSU game this year, and there won't even be a defensive back in the shot, that you'll see on TV with the receiver. They're that far away from them. That's – defensive back university shouldn't look like that. I just wonder if Bo Pelini is willing to do what it takes to catch up to these offenses that we have in the SEC, because it's different than when he left it in 2007.
Is that me, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Just overall, the transition from Dave Aranda to Pelini just clearly hasn't gone well. I mean, just the optics of it. Even if you're just a normal fan watching the game, in your opener, you give up 623 yards passing. You stay in the man-to-man coverage and continue to get scorched. And then the next week, I think Pelini didn't react that well to the fan criticism, although I don't know why he's paying attention to it really, especially after a performance like that. You got to focus on on trying to circle the wagons and fix a lot of things, but they did try to play zone defense. Obviously did a horrible job there. I don't think they coached it very well. And you've got just overall a defense that just isn't really sure what to do. And I would have to think that Arkansas, with the success they had in the second half against Tennessee, and then having a really good game offensively last week against a Florida defense that has improved quite a bit from early in the season, they got to think they've got an opportunity to have a big game yesterday. Whereas defensively, I will say this, that on at least 3 of those touchdown passes, I thought the Arkansas defense was in perfect position. A couple of times the receiver makes a tremendously athletic play. On another one, Trask threw the ball in the back of the end zone within about a 1-foot window, which was the only place it could have been caught. He was able to do it. So I think the way Florida was able to execute was, like I said, it was it was almost perfect. So there wasn't a lot they could do. But I got to think this Arkansas defense feels that they can certainly confuse Finley, because in a couple of previous games, I've really noticed in their defensive alignments, they've done a good job kind of disguising what defense they're in, what coverage they're using. But yet, once the ball was snapped, they're able to be disciplined and know exactly where they're supposed to go. So I think Arkansas is really going to be able to confuse this LSU defense. And as I said, I don't think the game's going to be close. I think I would not be surprised to see Arkansas win by double digits.
Wes, that's big. That's a bold prediction. Do you think it'll happen?
Well, here's what I said before the season started, and I knew LSU wasn't going to be very good. And I predicted Arkansas to win by 20 because I thought Alabama was going to crush their soul, but that game wasn't played. They haven't played in it'll be 3 weeks tomorrow.
Yeah.
So LSU's excited to play. You take something away from players, and they get excited to play. So I think they'll be excited to play, and it's going to be a closer game than 20. I have Arkansas winning by 11. But this is before we find out who's out. I do not know if some key players. Now, I do know Felipe Franks has practiced all week. Coach Pittman was asked about Felipe Franks. He hurt his left wrist in the game against Florida, and he said the wrist is fine. He has practiced every single day and has not, the wrist has not been an issue. So we know Felipe Franks is out there, but we don't know about other key players who could be missing. That could change the whole narrative of the game. But I think Arkansas, with who we think is playing, should win this game by 10 points or more. I think, last week we said they could not get into a high-scoring affair with Florida. I think this week you want to get a high-scoring affair, because I don't think LSU and their freshman quarterbacks can keep up with Arkansas. I think Arkansas's defense will confuse them, and they're going to pick off some passes. And that's when Arkansas can kind of take advantage of those turnovers and add up, pile up some quick points. So I do like Arkansas in this game, somewhere around 30, 35, 24. Sounds kind of good to me.
Yeah. Wes, one more thing before we let you go. I like to call it, my friend Scott Paulo, again, he's a Razorback alumnus, has a couple of boys up there in school now. We call it the Weston Dacus Award. Your in-state player every week, the best player, especially we love to see these walk-ons. And we're talking about Grant Morgan from Greenwood, which is a really good football power from over near Fort Smith. Who is a player that you just came out of nowhere this year for this Arkansas team that you might think is a real leader, because it's taking a lot to make this happen? I thought they could win 4 or 5 games because I love this coaching staff, but give me some names.
Well, on offense, there's one guy, and that's Felipe Franks. He came in and was voted team captain without spring practice, without summer ball, and they quickly recognized his leadership skills, and his teammates elected him captain. So that's all you need to know about offensively. He's the big difference of this team. I mean, Pittman, Bryles, Odom, they've been great, but on the field, Felipe Franks has meant everything. You guys know if you got a quarterback, you got a chance to win. Arkansas hasn't had a quarterback in a couple of years now. They do now with Felipe Franks, and he's made a huge difference. On the defensive side of the ball, Jonathan Marshall on the defensive line, he is a wrecking ball. He came out of nowhere, hasn't played a lot. The light clicked on his senior year. He's the strongest guy on the team, and they use a three-man front a lot of the time. He's still putting pressure on the quarterback, getting double teamed. He's making plays in the backfield, tackles for loss. This guy is kind of a silent leader on the team. Grant Morgan, who you mentioned at linebacker from Greenwood, Arkansas. This is I think he's leading the SEC in tackles, or right at the top of leading the SEC in tackles. This guy is he's the Arkansas Razorback through and through. Gritty, and you look on his arm, he's got a brace because his elbow was, I think it was hyperextended, or I don't know, he may have dislocated his elbow, but he's got this big bulky brace on. He continues to play. And then in the secondary, Jalen Catalon, he is a redshirt freshman, and he's the leader of the secondary. And guys, he's an all-SEC safety. He is phenomenal with the interceptions, the tackles. He's always in the right place. He's telling guys where to go. Arkansas is lucky to have him a couple more years.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will be in Arkansas all weekend and a bunch next week. Duck season starting, Wes, and everywhere you go, there's just such a confidence among the Razorback fans. And when you drive across the river in Memphis, you know, it's one team, one state, one team. No, Arkansas State fans don't agree with that. But, man, those Razorback fans are starved for a winner, and they are absolutely loving it, and I'm happy for them. I mean, I can tell you one thing. They ought to be – they're 3-4 right now. They ought to be 4-3. They got – you know, we know what happened at Auburn. I'm an Auburn grad, but call it like you see it. Auburn got away with one on that one. But you can say what you want. This Arkansas team, they're going to get better. They're going to get better players, and we'll get more into recruiting later. Wes, look, thank you so much for joining us. We love having you on. Tell people how they can follow you every day, because you do a great show all over the natural state.
I'm on Twitter. It's Wes_Moore, 2 S's in Wes, 2 O's in Moore. And you can download the Buzz app, or you can follow us on 1037thebuzz.com. And I can tell you, Joe Klein, the former Razorback center that played in the NBA for years and years and years, he owns 2 Corky's, or he's a part owner of 2 Corky's here in Little Rock and North Little Rock. And he comes into the studio with us every Wednesday, and a lot of times he brings food, and he's brought that smoked turkey that you're talking about.
Yes.
It is unbelievable, guys. It's the best turkey I've ever had.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about for Thanksgiving getting some turkey, that Corky's turkey, smoked turkey, is off the chart.
It really is, and I'm telling you, Wes, I'm smelling it, and we're going to try to get the pit master to come out and say a few things to people. I mean, I am drooling right now, and I'm already jacked up enough. I'm like, Matt Foley. I've been down in the basement for about 4 hours drinking coffee, and I'm smelling Corky's barbecue right outside the kitchen by the pit. And tomorrow morning, duck season starts 30 minutes before sunrise. I mean, I'm bouncing off the walls. But hey, but I know another thing too, Wes, which I love. We were over in Wynn, and that's one of our sponsors, is Red River Ford Toyota, with Justin Wynn, the general manager, and the Red River people are fantastic, and they love the Razorbacks. And it is just it's just fun to watch these people, because I spend so much time in Arkansas, West. They truly love the Razorbacks, and you are the tip of the spear for the Razorback Nation.
I tell you, there's a big one in Wynn tonight. Maumelle takes on Wynn. You've got potentially 3 future Razorbacks playing in that game. 2 on the offensive line, 1 on the defensive line, and that should be a great 5A high school football game tonight.
Yeah,
if you're listening,
yeah,
there's a place to go in eastern Arkansas.
Yeah, Maumelle playing at Wynn High School tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, that is going to be huge. We'll be, because our hunting camp's and parking right next to it. Hey, Wes, thank you so much for joining us, and let's get you back on Sunday afternoon, 3 to 5 for the Sunday wrap-up show, and you are always welcome on here. Thanks so much.
Talk to you later. Have a good weekend.
You
guys.
too. You bet, man. Hey, let's do this real quick. Audrey, let's take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back. We're broadcasting live from Corky's Barbecue here in Memphis. And just a reminder, Thanksgiving coming up next Thursday, hickory smoked whole turkey, $39.99 plus tax. Hickory smoked turkey breast, $39.99 plus tax. And then the spiral sliced honey glazed ham, $49.99 plus tax. Turkeys and hams are cold. Turkeys, hams, and the feast will serve 8 to 10 people. Now you order and prepay by November 23rd, you'll get $5 off. Order online at corkiesbbq.com. Enter the coupon code THANKS in all caps to receive the discount. Pickup dates are November 24th and November 25th. Again, Jimmy Hodge, national college football contributor in Chicago with us. And we're going to come back after these quick commercial messages with Rodney Orr of Tider Insider from Titletown, Tuscaloosa. Be right back. They run commercials? Okay. Let me call Rodney. Hold on, Jimmy. Let me call Rodney.
All right.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, that's a good. I agree with your call on that Razorback game. Totally. Okay, hang on. What? Yeah.
Hey, can you give me like 3 minutes? I'm in the bank. I'll be.
Yeah. Call us back. We're on a commercial break right now. Call us back in 3 minutes.
You want me to call you?
Yeah. Call me back. Yeah, call me back in 3 minutes. Yeah, right on my line.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay, bye. Okay. Rodney said he's going to call back in 3 minutes. He was in the bank. So hang on 1 second here. Okay. Here's what we'll do. I'll get Justin Wynn to come see if he can call right now. Okay. One second. Hey, Justin. Yeah, we're going to be coming out of the commercial. We're at Corky's right now, one of John's other investments.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me. I just got off with Wes Moore, so we were having fun with him. Okay, let me bring you in here, and we'll come right back to you. Hang on. Okay. Hey, Jimmy, we're going to come in with Justin Wynn. Justin Wynn from Red River Ford Toyota. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay, Rob Brown back here with you. We're broadcasting live from Corky's Barbecue here in East Memphis, and we're broadcasting with right now. We've got Jimmy Hodge on the phone with us up in Chicago, national college football contributor. Rodney Orr from Tider Insider joining in as well. But first, let's talk to one of our sponsors. We're so blessed to have Justin Wynn, the general manager, Red River Ford Toyota over in Wynn, Arkansas. And as Wes Moore just told us, Justin, a big football game tonight over there in Wynn, Maumelle, Arkansas against Wynn High School. 3 future Razorbacks, Wes said, 3 of the top players in the South will be out there. And look, there's a lot going on. October 5th, Red River Ford Toyota is on the map there and ready for business. And it's a great place to work with. Tell folks what they can expect to see. I know a lot of people are out running around tomorrow. Duck season starts, and that's a great time to go get a new truck.
Yeah, so he's right. There is a big football game here tonight. Wynn loves their football. I've noticed that already by there in this town. And as you come into town for the game, I'd love to invite you by to come by and see our dealership and just see what we can do for you. Mr. Dobbs was just here. You just missed him. I'd love to have got him on the phone, but he was just here. And we're doing big things. We've got plenty of inventory, got great deals going on. And I've got something really special I want to tell you about in a minute.
All right. Let me say this. Justin, when Audrey and I were there last Friday doing the Friday broadcast from Red River Ford Toyota in Wynn, you've got a great looking Toyota Tundra truck, black, that you're driving. That thing, that is an absolute beauty. And I think you could probably go anywhere, including up the side of a mountain.
Yeah, so it's a really cool truck. It's a brand new 2021 Tundra. It's a limited, and we put a little lift kit on it with some good oversized tires, some BF Goodwrench all-terrain tires. And the truck is absolutely amazing. It still rides like it's factory. It still gets excellent fuel mileage. Didn't really change it any there. But it looks absolutely amazing. When I'm telling people about this truck, I tell them it almost looks like a Tonka toy. I mean, that's just how it's the only way I can really describe it. You see your other vehicles, your Chevys and your Dodges lifted, and they just look like a lift truck. This Toyota looks like a Tonka toy. And it's really awesome. And what I was going to tell you, the special I've got going on, I want to tell everybody about our Buy Now, Shop Later sales event. And basically what this is, come in, buy your vehicle, and if over the next month you find someone with a lower advertised price to it than what I sold you the vehicle for, I'm going to write you a check back for the difference. That way you don't have to worry about going out shopping all day. You can come right here and have the confidence that you're getting the best deal available on a new Toyota or Ford.
Well, I don't think you're going to find a better deal anywhere. And for people, Justin, I'm telling you, we're over there all the time living in Memphis. It is an easy trip, about 45 minutes from Memphis. And if you're going over to Forest City on Interstate 40, you just take a right there on Highway 1, go right up there north about 12 miles through Colt, and you're right there at the dealership. And again, the positive energy, the karma, when you step foot on the lot there, I love it. And, your sales manager, Rusty, everybody that is there when you are, they take a lot of pride in that dealership. And the Dobbs family, John Dobbs Jr., his father, grandfather, anybody that knows anything about cars, trucks, SUVs in the Memphis Mid-South area knows their family's reputation. It's about relationships, and they back up every sale. And Justin, I'm telling you what, everybody, when we are over there at the dealership, again, goes out of their way to help you. I think it's an easy place to go buy a new car or truck.
Yeah, that's what we want it to be. We want it to be a great experience, one of the best experiences you've ever had buying a vehicle. So many times people put it off because they just don't want to deal with it, but we want to make it easy. And it is an easy drive from Memphis or from Little Rock or from Northeast Arkansas or anywhere. It's a super easy drive. It's a pretty drive. I welcome you to take it, but if you can't find the time to make that trip over here, just give us a call. We'll work all this out for you, and I'll bring the vehicle to your driveway. I've taken them all over already, and that's just something we're going to continue to do.
Well, you got to love that. I know y'all had a Camry that you delivered down to Louisiana last week. So, hey, tomorrow after you get through duck hunting, get out, drive over to Red River Ford Toyota in Wynne, Arkansas. We're going to run by there tomorrow afternoon, say hello after we get through. And, hey, it's a great, great time of the year, and we'll talk to you in the next hour, Justin. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Rob.
You bet. Okay, Rodney Orr is on here with us now, Tider Insider. And Rodney, look, tomorrow night, Alabama, Kentucky down in Tuscaloosa. Alabama undefeated, really playing better than any team in the country. I don't know who is going to beat Alabama. Clemson is not as strong, certainly, of a team. Ohio State really isn't playing much competition.
Well, I tell you what, Jimmy and Rob, Alabama hasn't played in 3 weeks. And I was thinking, as long as I've been following this, first Alabama game I ever watched was 1968. And think about this. I don't ever remember a regular season where there was 3 weeks between between games. I mean, it's kind of phenomenal. Now, obviously, preparing for a bowl game or playoffs is a different story, but just kind of incredible where we are right now in college football in general, to have these kind of games that are canceled, postponed, whatever it might be. And teams are facing so many distractions and disruptions. So I say that to say, Alabama was in a great rhythm. They were making progress defensively, it appeared. They were really playing at a very high level on offense. And then all of a sudden this happened. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond tomorrow, against Kentucky. Can they get back in that rhythm offensively? How do they play defensively? How do they stand up against the run that Kentucky has? And, they have a really good running game and a quarterback who's very athletic. So it's going to be an interesting game for Alabama. Almost in a way, crazy way. It's almost like another season opener.
It really is. Jimmy Hodge, I agree with Rodney. I've never remember a 3-week layoff in a game. I know the 9/11 2001 season was a bit strange, but do you think that's going to affect Alabama?
I don't think so. I just believe this year's just been so bizarre that I think the players are just really ready for anything. They weren't able to work out together on campus for months until they returned. And, they seem to adapt really nicely to having to, between the couple of weeks of conditioning and going through I guess what resembled, but obviously wasn't anything close to what the normal preseason camp routine is like. They came through it really well, and this team just seems to have a focus, uh, uh, maybe more than some other teams have, and I think they're really going to be looking forward to playing tomorrow. And um, I defensively, I think they've gotten better every week since the Ole Miss game, and I certainly can see them. No matter what kind of alignment they're in, they're going to be cheating 8 guys in the box area to stop the run, to outnumber Kentucky's blockers, and dare Terry Wilson to beat him throwing the ball down the field. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that. Although Kentucky had a good defensive game last week against Vanderbilt, but it was Vanderbilt. But still, anytime you can put that many points on the board, it's gonna give you some confidence. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Bama's just going to be what they've been all year, just an explosive, a passing team that can kill you with the deep ball. The running game's been really good the last 4 to 5 games, and then the offensive line's really executed well. So I think Alabama's going to come out ready to play, and I think they're going to win easily.
All right, Rodney, the Jalen Waddle injury, October 24th in the Tennessee game, as long as this season's going to last, who knows? He may recover and be back in the playoffs. We don't know that. But what is it about Nick Saban? A lot of people are reaching for excuses this year. Defense wasn't good for anybody the first 3 or 4 weeks, but Alabama looks like Alabama of the last year, the year before that, and every year before that since Nick Saban's been there. Is there any debate over whether he is the best coach in college football?
Well, I don't think so. I think one of the things here in this situation that we're in right now kind of proves a lot about, says a lot about not only what it takes to be a great coach, but what all it entails. And what I mean by that is, if you remember, we talked about this many times on your show, Rob. It's not just about being a great coach. It's about being a manager.
Yep.
There's so many different things you have to manage in a program. You have to manage people. You have to manage coaches. You have to manage the message that goes out. You have to manage the strength and conditioning. You have to manage the boosters. You have to manage the media. All of these things that you have to manage. You also have to manage kind of how your players think. And it goes back to what Jimmy was saying about how Alabama's got a special focus. And I think it goes back to, Nick Saban. What he's done since the day this thing got shut down, which was, I'll never forget, Thursday night, March 12th, got a call. Alabama may not be opening practice the next day. Sankey may close down spring practice, and he did. But from that point on, Nick Saban, he prepared his team for disruption, distractions, all those things that would go on. We talked about how it would be so important for him to manage, these guys through this. And you see, they've responded, as Jimmy noted, they've responded extremely well. And I just think that he's just done an incredible job to this point of managing the entire program through this very unusual time.
Yeah, and everybody's going to have injuries. You're going to have guys. If everybody had a couple of players maybe that, I hate that term, but decided not to play this year versus sticking it out. They had their reasons, and I understand that. But when you've got a lot of depth, which Alabama does, you don't want to lose anybody. Nobody is just it doesn't matter. But Alabama, and if you look at the blue chip index, 83%. That's the highest in the country, and that's obviously an indication of how many 4- and 5-star players you have on the team. Georgia, number 2 at 82, but without a quarterback, you're seeing how big a difference that is. 1 percentage point, but in the second half, Alabama's depth allowed them to pull away, and Mac Jones versus Stetson Bennett, the 4th, who was 5th team when the season started. It made a real it's very obvious. Another thing, Alabama right now is sitting at number 1 in the nation in recruiting. if you look at Kentucky, again, that's a team that most people in the preseason, Rodney, thought they had the most experienced offensive and defensive lines, but it doesn't matter. They've won 3 games this year. I guess their highlight was going on the road and beating Tennessee in Knoxville. Talk about this Alabama defense. Pete Golding, I mean, I don't think he's a great coordinator. Is Nick Saban, did he, after the Ole Miss game, take charge of the Alabama defense? Because they've gotten better every week.
Well, actually, I guess after the Ole Miss game, and they showed a little better the next week or whatever, and people said, well, the part of that was because someone else had started taking over the defensive play calling from Golding. And I did some checking, and I found out that was not accurate, that Golding was had done a nice job, and that, he still has those duties. And, I think a lot of it was, Jimmy knows about this. I know, Rob, you've heard it before too, that Nick Saban has a very complicated defensive scheme. And I think that they got back after that Ole Miss game and said, okay, we're confused defensively. We're trying to do too much with guys who are young. They're not catching on. They're not getting lined up. So we want to simplify a little bit. And I think that's certainly contributed to their improvement over the last few weeks. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic by any means, but, it doesn't hurt when you're playing, Tennessee, an offense that really is.
Hey, I'm going to bring you on and just hang on with our Alabama guy, okay? Then I'll bring you in.
Okay.
I've been very good on offense as well. But it's the tackling, the fundamental things that I think is where I see improvement. They're tackling better. They're not missing as many assignments. They seem to be more confident, playing faster. So all those things are encouraging. And I go back to what I was saying earlier, and Jimmy touched on this too, was stopping the run this week against Kentucky. I think that's going to be, something that's going to be a neat thing to watch. It's going to be a challenge, and it's going to be interesting because you mentioned it, Rob, about that. They've got a pretty good offensive line. So it's going to be interesting to see Alabama's defensive front against this offensive line.
Yeah, and one thing, Jimmy Hodge, your thoughts about Alabama's offense. Is Steve Sarkisian, again, I think we're going to have to elevate him into that group I talked about with Lane Kiffin, Mike Leach, Dan Mullen. Sarkisian is just absolutely amazing what he's been doing with the quarterbacks at Alabama. Jimmy, your thoughts about that?
Well, he's had a sensational season. I mean, they just seem to have been a step ahead of the opposing defenses all year long. And even after losing Waddle for at first, everybody thought for the season for sure, and that may not be the case. But, Mechie came in and was ready to play right away, had a really and then Slade Bolden came in, had a nice game against Tennessee. And I think they have adopted that next man up mentality, which is what you have to do when you unexpectedly lose a future NFL player. And actually, I wanted to ask Rodney, does he see an opportunity down the road to develop some more depth in that receiver core with Javon Baker and also incorporating another tight end or two into the offense behind Forstall, who's had a really good year?
Yeah, as far as the wide receivers, obviously Javon Baker, the trio of freshmen, Javon Baker, Trayshawn Holden, and Tyu Jones-Bell. Probably Baker's been the one that's just generated the most buzz. I did notice in the Mississippi State game, though, Jimmy and Rob, that when they brought those 3 true freshmen in at wide receiver all around the same time, the first pass was a quick throw to Tyu Jones-Bell, and it got broken up. But that was kind of interesting. They were trying to get him the ball quickly and let him do something with kind of yards after the catch type thing. But and then Xavier Williams is another one. That's a 4th young player, is a redshirt sophomore. That is a wide receiver. It's got some potential. So I'm really hoping that we see a fourth guy get some opportunities because you need to develop another guy. You really, really do, in my opinion. So I'm hoping to see somebody get some opportunities. As far as tight ends, obviously they've used, Forrest Stahl. Carl Tucker's gotten back after being out for a while. He's a guy that's really lent as a blocker. Major Tennyson's done some things in the blocking game, but also he's got some ability as a receiver. I hadn't really had that opportunity yet. But I really like, I tell you guys who I really like. I like Jaleel Billingsley. I think he's an athletic guy. I think he can, with his athleticism, he's got good height. He's 6'4". He's got good speed, really good hands. I think he could become a weapon eventually. Would like to see that happen pretty soon, actually. But I think he could become a weapon as a receiver.
Rodney, and one more thing before we let you go. I know you got a lot going on. Let me ask you a question. Alabama high school football right now, it's one of the 6 or 7 most talent-rich states in America. Describe the scene down there look, we all know about the virus, and it's everybody's walking around on eggshells waiting for the other shoe to drop, but they look like they're charging right on ahead, and it's a pretty good year in state, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's been first of all, I think the director of the Alabama High School Athletics Association, Steve Savarese, he's been pretty aggressive from the very beginning. I mean, I think he's tried to do everything in terms of the way he's provided leadership is to say, hey, listen, we intend to have a season. We want to have a season. Nobody's being forced to play. There's a lot of teams that have canceled out. Some canceled before the season ever started. But they've had a very successful year. I think for the most part, the teams that did decide to play. And again, I think it goes back to Steve Savarese. Again, nobody was forced to play. Everyone could make their own choices and decisions. But a lot of schools have moved forward, and I think it's been a very successful year by everything I can tell from my vantage point.
Yeah, I do too, and I'm glad to see that because it's the 6th most talent-rich state in America, right behind Ohio, and one spot ahead of Louisiana. And Pennsylvania's 8, Mississippi's 9, Illinois is 10. It's hard to believe that, how many, about 135 kids in Alabama, maybe 140 this year, will sign Division I scholarships. It's absolutely great testament to the coaching. And I know you've got the relationships all over, so you keep us informed. Rodney, tell people how they can keep up with the Alabama Crimson Tide via Tider Insider and also that great forum that you've got, and we'll let you go.
Well, yeah, Tider, it's only $48 a year. You can get instant access with your credit card, or if you prefer, there's an address there to send a check. And again, it's only $48 a year. You get all our premium information. Rob, we had a big recruiting update a day or two ago. We've had a lot of basketball. We had a tremendous basketball recruiting update here earlier this week. A lot of the Zoom calls with Coach Jackson, all of those things coming from the university in terms of the practices and the preparation they're doing this week. And then our all sports forum. It's our community that is really never, these guys never sleep. I mean, it's constant flow of exchange there, information, all of that stuff on our all sports forum. And again, it's TiderInsider.com. It's only $48 a year.
All right, look, Rodney Orr, great job. I know you got a lot going on today, but we look forward to having you on every week. You bring so much great information to the show. And again, one of the good guys out there who the relationships that you have with the high school coaches all over is why you are, again, breaking news as an tip of the spear is what you are. But man, have a great day, and try and join us on the Sunday afternoon wrap-up show if you get a chance. I know, again, that's at 3 to 5 p.m. on Sunday, but we love having you anytime.
Hey, look forward to it, Rob and Jimmy. You guys have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Okay, we are now going to be joined here in just a moment by another one of our regulars, Mr. LSU Tiger, Frank Duffy from Atlanta. Duffy Realty, man, I'm going to tell you what, if you're looking for a home in the Atlanta area, Frank and Rhonda Duffy, they are amazing. But let's do this. I want to say something about another one of our sponsors, George Gully. George is on his way up to Knoxville today, but Jim Karras Chevrolet, 2000 Covington Pike in Memphis, one of our sponsors. And George sent me some bullet points here, guys. Truck month, $7,000 off Silverado plus $1,000 in truck accessories with any purchase of a Silverado or a Colorado truck. They've also got the new 21 Chevy Tahoes and Suburbans in stock, and these things are incredible. They inside of them, it's like riding in your living room. 4-wheel drive. They've got the packages, and also you can lease a new Chevy Blazer for as low as $339 a month. The new Chevy Trax SUV as low as $279 a month. Now look, George Gully, sales manager, he's going to be out tomorrow, but Rachel and Christian, who are part of George's sales team, are going to be there in the morning. Again, George is going to be in Knoxville, but every deal will be accepted by Rachel. She's going to be able to work with you, and you know as well as I do, George Gully, 22 years, the sales manager at Jim Karras Chevrolet, Subaru, Nissan 2000 Covington Pike in Memphis, will climb through the phone to help you. The Karras family, almost 70 years in the car and truck business, not because they're lucky, but because they're good. They know how to treat people right, and that is so important. When you go in there, George will sit there with a legal pad and a pen and listen. He will get you what you need, what is right for you. It's all about the right fit. George Gully, sales manager, 22 years, over 4,000 customers, Jim Karras Chevrolet, 2000 Covington Pike in Memphis. Again, so blessed to have sponsors like Jim Karras. And hey, Frank Duffy, welcome to the show, Mr. LSU Tiger. It's been 3 weeks since LSU, since Auburn, since Alabama played a football game. And we had Wes Moore on the beginning of the show from over in Little Rock, who covers the Arkansas Razorbacks. And I know they're licking their chops. They're going to try to get to 500. No one would have thought that before the season, although I did pick Arkansas to win 4 or 5 games because I like this coaching staff. LSU is desperately in need of a victory. Take it from here, and we've also got Jimmy Hodge up in Chicago, so let's have some fun.
Hey, Jimmy, nice talking to you again. Hey, first of all, I got to tell you, I've been wandering around dirt and half the last 2.5 weeks trying to find my car keys after somebody came up and hit me over the head with a 2x4 in that last Auburn LSU game. I've been wandering around. You know, somebody took pity on me and handed me some food from Toomer's Corner. Sonny, I finally found my car keys. That was butt whipping. You know, it's been tough this year. You know, look, don't cry us the river. We're happy with what happened last year. If this is the sins for the glory of last year, that's all right. We can handle it. But I will tell you, don't forget, historically, when the Tigers and the Piggies meet, you can just almost hear the sound of sizzling bacon. And when the Tigers started out, we were a 1.5 point underdog, and we're now flipped to a 1 point favorite. Look, I love Coach Sam Pittman. Yes, sir. And I'll tell you what, he's got those pigs playing good. But LSU, like you said, we are desperate for a win. You know, Max Johnson is in quarantine, only practiced a couple times this week. Coach O is kind of playing coy on who's going to be quarterbacking. The one I know that's not going to be quarterbacking is Miles Brennan. I think the kid's done for the year. So I think it's going to be TJ Finley again. And here's what it comes down to. If that kid's got the poise that he played against when I was sitting inside the stadium 4 weeks ago, watching him, you know, beat up and send Coach Muskamp on his way, then the Tigers will have a good game in Fayetteville. If it's the kid that I saw with happy feet and we're shifting in the pocket against Auburn on the Plains, it's going to be a long day for the Tigers.
Yeah. Hey, if you can, Frank, turn your phone up a little higher. I know we've got a lot. We're here at Corky's Barbecue to about 90% or more, so we can hear you better. But that's great description of what's going on. Jimmy Hodge, yeah, you talk about, and again, Auburn, Alabama, LSU. A lot of teams have been off for 3 weeks. This game tomorrow, you've got Arkansas trying to get to 500. They desperately want a bowl, and LSU has got to get rid of the hangover from the national championship. Frank made some good points. What's your comeback?
Well, I think LSU's obviously going to be excited to play. They want to try to redeem themselves from that no-show performance at Jordan Hare 3 weeks ago, and That's the only other way I could just describe it. I was just stunned at what I was watching, and combine the fact that probably that was Auburn's best performance of the year, and it just all added up to an ugly ending. But yeah, this is a different opponent. You're running into an Arkansas team that did put 35 points up on the board last week against a Florida defense that's gotten much better as the season has gone along. So you've got to hope Pelini has that defense ready to play, because up to this point, it just seems like he hasn't been able to, just reach those guys. Evidently, we've seen coverage bust all season, and hopefully for the Tigers, they can get that fixed. Offensively, they just need to give Finley some confidence, throw in some high percentage passes, bubble screens, maybe passes out in the flat where you can have some early success and go from there. But as I mentioned to Wes Moore in one of our earlier segments, Wes being with the ESPN affiliate in Arkansas, that what a difference a year makes. I mean, at this time last year, I believe LSU was a 44-point favorite over the Hogs.
Yep.
Yeah, Frank, again, a year later, look at how the tables have turned. Arkansas is a team that has more momentum. I mean, they're 3-4, just had a tough loss on the road at Florida, but they were never going to win that track meet. You're the LSU coaching staff, Frank. I'll put you in that position, and you don't have to do the voice, but if you're Coach O right now, you're going up there to Fayetteville to play a team that has tasted success for the first time in 2.5 years. They had a 20-game SEC losing streak. What are you telling your guys who are not going to be going to the playoff this year? They're not in contention for the SEC championship, and the players that were on last year's team, they can talk and remember that, but there's a lot of new guys that have never been in this situation before. What's the pep talk?
Boy, you're LSU.
Yeah.
And there's a standard here at LSU.
That's right.
Every time we go out to play, there's a standard here at LSU. And let me tell you, I don't care if we're playing Arkansas or Alabama or the Little Sisters of the Poor. You're going to go out there, and then one thing LSU will do, we will control both lines of scrimmage. That's what we got to do. And that's what we did not do against Auburn. Auburn manhandled us on the lines of scrimmage horribly. Yes, we were out of position. Yes, our D-back was like it's escapades on ice back there. They were on skates back there. They're out of position. And Bo Pelini's got to understand, when he's got these kids like Flott, who's brand new to being a cornerback, yeah, you might not be able to run all those blitz packages and put those kids out on islands. And look, if you find Derek Stingley, last time I saw him, his face was on a milk cart. We got to get in there. We got to own the line of scrimmage. But you got to play with pride. You got to look yourself in the mirror before you go out there and you go, I'm going to control the man that's right across from me. I'm going to handle what I can handle. And then if we all do it together, we all pull on the same rope. And you're exactly right, Rob. There are people on that team that remember the absolute summit of college football. And I'm not talking about last year's summit. I'm talking about the history of college football. And you got other kids on there that are green. They're talented, like B.J. Ojolari and Eric Gilbert, and these kids that have 4- and 5-star talent, but they're green. But let me tell you something. You're not a freshman anymore. You're 7 games in. You got to bring it tomorrow. And you better do it. You better do it in Fayetteville, because let me tell you something. The butt whippings that LSU has put on Arkansas in the last 5 or 6, 7 years, let me tell you something. If they can, they're going to try to embarrass us just like Auburn did. So they better be ready.
Yeah, and look, Frank, LSU, what great tradition. In this millennium, 3 different coaches, Les Miles in Nick Saban in 03, Les Miles in 07, and here in 2019, arguably the greatest college football team ever, greatest college football season ever, greatest single season performance by a college quarterback ever. over 5,700 yards. Joe Burrow from the Plains, Ohio. I mean, look, all that stuff. And I got to ask you this. And Jimmy, anyone out here, when sometimes success, it's just so good that it's like, you watch sharks when they're in a feeding frenzy on a whale carcass. They get drunk with so much food, and you just wonder. Coach O signed that $42 million contract. Sometimes you just got so much going on. Believe it or not, it's hard for you to focus on what's happening.
Well, you lose a little hunger. I think that's a natural thing. I don't really think that happened to Coach O. I really don't. I think it goes back to you had all the stars line. And look, I'm not giving excuses for my program, right?
Sure.
Not my position to do that. I'm just a fan. But I'm not giving excuses for them. But what happened this year was unlike not only what happened last year on the field was unlike anything. The greatest college football season in history. Again, we've had 3 national championships in 16 years. Only Alabama has had more. And had we had a better game for 60 minutes in the Superdome, those numbers actually would have been tied 4-4 as opposed to 5-3.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, what I think happened is you had this perfect storm of 14 kids getting drafted, never happened before. Okay. You had another 6 go free agent route. You got 20 guys that are in the NFL. Hell, our damn long snappers playing on the Miami Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
You had another 6 juniors opt out because of COVID. You wouldn't have had that in any other year. So again, I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying when you lose 19 to 22 starters from the greatest season in college football, and by the way, boys, it was only 10 months ago. I mean, this was 10 months ago. Never in the history of sports has that much talent left from one roster to the next. So I think there's a lot of reasons for it. These kids have talent. They've been thrown into the fire. And look, I say, hey, go get your ass beat. Get hungry. Get that fire back again. Coach O, you get it. Coach Ensminger, you get it. Both sides of the ball, special team, get that hunger again. And let me tell you something. If that's what it takes, awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody on this team, everybody in college football gets a do-over. This is a do-over year. Nobody loses eligibility. And yeah, I wish we were undefeated, but we got 3 losses. But you take what happened this year, starting with tomorrow, and you get better. And you look yourself in the mirror every day and say, what can I do to be better? I do it in business. You do it in business, Rob.
Oh, yeah.
We all do it in our walks of life. College football programs have to do the exact same thing every day.
Yeah, and if I were Coach O, I would put a sign up before the players go out on the field, and I know they probably got one. Look, I will eat more gumbo than anyone ever. I don't know what it says, but I would have one that says, hey, the only easy day was yesterday. Because when you are LSU, you're Alabama, and Clemson right now, these are the programs that are winning the national championships. Everybody is going to be coming for you. And getting to the top is easier than staying on top. As crazy as that sounds, it is
exactly right.
And you're right. And Jimmy, you know this, very successful business career with Adidas going all over the country, branding the Adidas sports, you and 3 other people in the whole country. That's why you have these great relationships. But, every day you got to challenge yourself and go in there and say, hey, what are we doing to get better? And LSU, and the question, I'm going to throw this one back up to you, Jimmy Hodge up in Chicago, our national college football contributor. If you are Coach O, what are you thinking about the decision to bring back Bo Pelini? He's got a great track record. He's a fiery guy. So is Coach O. But do you think Bo Pelini was ready for these offenses that we have now in the SEC? Because when he left years back in 2007 on the heels of an LSU national championship to go to Nebraska, the league was entirely different.
Well, no question. And I said this earlier. I was skeptical of that hire from the very beginning because you've got a situation where with Coach O and Pelini, you have alpha type A personalities, and it really complicates matters when the head coach is also, in this case, the defensive coordinator, which you have the same personality. And it's been obvious from, I don't know how preseason camp went, but from the opener against State, when you give up 623 yards passing and you refuse to abandon the man-to-man coverage and try to mix it up with zone, and then the next week, you switch to zone, but I think it was Pelini's reaction, which he really shouldn't have paid attention to from the fans, in which he more or less said, "You guys want zone? Okay, we'll throw zone out there." But I don't think they really put their heart into teaching it. And as a result, I mean, how many Missouri touchdowns did we see in that game on long passes where you didn't even see an LSU defender in the picture?
It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, even in that Auburn game, when you've got a wide out that just catches what's more or less a fade pattern in the end zone with nobody within 10 feet of him. And
it's
it
not,
wasn't
it's
a
not
pick.
it's not a lack of ball skills, and it's not a lack of talent.
Right.
Because we got talent
Yep.
back there. I can assure you that.
No doubt. So my question, Frank, is in your mind, first of all, how big a game is this tomorrow for Pelini? And if things don't get better on that side of the ball, do you see him returning?
No, I don't think he's going to return. What this is starting to feel like to me is the defensive version of
Matt Kennedy.
Canada friction of 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was a resume hire, and that's what I was going to say.
Well, I told Jimmy Ott last week, I said, man, watching that Auburn performance, it made me wax poetic back to the Lou Tepper days.
Oh, God, don't take me back.
Wait a minute. No. Ooh.
Hey, if I see Lou Tepper and Curly Holman, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to become a Tulane fan.
Hey, man. Hey, the only thing worse would be the Grim Reaper at the door front with them.
Boy, no kidding. Holy man.
Or hey, hi, I'm Kurt Roper. I'm here to coach your offense. No. I mean, to tell you what, Kurt Roper has presided over the death of more football coaches' careers than anybody I know. I mean, not only that guy, that's like the guy who puts the hood on you when you're in the electric chair. Hey,
no kidding.
Sorry about that. But hey, go ahead, Jimmy.
No, Frank. Jimmy Ott was telling us that they had the fan base down there and resorted to calling this 2020 defense the Tepperlini defense.
Well, it's scary. I mean, and hey, and you're right. If you think about it, Frank, the LSU program is the 11th winningest college football program in history. And this is how intense and tradition rich the SEC is. Alabama's like at number 5. Tennessee is number 10. Tennessee's number 9 all-time winningest football team. Georgia's number 10, LSU number 11, and Auburn number 12. Okay, we are stacked on top of each other. But as great as the tradition is, remember LSU, 89 through 94, 6 straight years. And we all remember the Curly Holman years. I mean, and 6 straight years LSU had a losing record. And then Jerry DiNardo comes in, 95 through 99. And again, that's when Lou Tepper came down from Illinois. Then 2000, they bring in Nick Saban. And I think only maybe one coach got on the plane with him up in East Lansing, Michigan, went down to Baton Rouge. That first year, UAB came in to Tiger Stadium and beat LSU. They turned it around. Bo Pelini, look, he reminds me a lot of Brian Van Gorder, who left Georgia after the 2004 season. Remember him, Frank and Jimmy?
Oh, yeah.
And he goes into the NFL for 7 years, comes back to Auburn in 2012, along with another good version of the Grim Reaper, Scott Loeffler, who presided over an 0-16 season with the Detroit Lions. And then he became Auburn's offensive coordinator in the worst Auburn football team in 62 years since 1950. Trust me, Auburn lost to Wofford that year. I know about it because my father was there. He goes, I saw it, boy. He said the first thing the new Alabama Governor Gordon Persons did in 1951 was to fire Earl Brown, the football coach. As my dad said, he was a nice man. He was a fine man, and he hired Shug Jordan. you think about Coach O. He is so loved in that state. And I know what Jimmy Ott said last year. He goes, look, I get it. Everything's going right. People love him. But Coach O is he's just infallible. I mean, he'll find some way to get it fixed, but he will not let a guy hang around on that staff long. And I agree with you.
No.
It's just, whatever the buyout is, you pay the money, you cut your losses. And I agree with you. Nothing personal against Bo Pelini, but Jimmy, you called that one last year, and so did you, Frank. You both were very. You know what the canary in the coal mine was? The very first game.
If he died, the coal miners had to get their ass out of there. And let me tell you something. That's exactly what I said with Pelini. Look, cutting edge in 07, because again, he was on the staff that Miles won the national championship. Look, cutting edge in 07. You might as well be on Pluto compared to being on Mars today, because like Jimmy said, the offenses are totally different in the SEC. I mean, if you were in a coma for the last 5 years and came and watched LSU and Alabama and Auburn play offense, you'd say you woke up on another planet. Well, that's the same thing when a Pelini comes in, and like you said, he's a type A, he's stubborn, right? And so, and that's what you're going to have. And then, if you've got Coach O and you got Pelini going back and forth at it, you've got those clashing personalities. Well, that's what you had with Matt Canada. Matt Canada was a good coach, but he just wasn't Coach O's coach. He wasn't an LSU coach. But and to Coach O's credit, he cut bait. I think he's going to do the exact same. And I'll tell you this: look, let's put aside the issue that came up with sexual assaults and all that sort of stuff for now. And look, I'm a dad of a daughter at LSU presently, right now. She's a freshman at LSU. So I'm very, very serious about I want to make sure that our program handle that correctly. And there's an independent investigation that's going on right now. So I'll hold my judgment until that independent investigation comes out. But obviously, I hope we handle things correctly. But short of something like that, I think the gravitas and the benevolence that last year's greatest college football season of all time, it has bought Coach O 3 or 4 years of his own, and the ability, frankly, to do whatever he wants on that coaching staff, even if it means we got to come out of pocket to send Bo Pelini back to Miami of Ohio, or wherever from Ohio University whence he came.
Yeah, Youngstown State or whatever. You're right.
There you go. Wherever it was.
And I'm with you. And if you let a coach hang around, look, if a dog will bite, he'll do it when he's a pup. Okay, you take a dog out. Let's say, give you an example. Tomorrow morning is opening day of duck season. There are going to be a lot of guys out there that have had their dog with a trainer for 6 months or a year, and they hadn't been up there a single time with the trainer. They have no idea what that dog's been trained, but they can read a pedigree. Remember, dogs can't read a pedigree, but their owners can. They're going to get out there with 10 people shooting and chaos everywhere, ducks falling out of the sky like raindrops, and the dog's going to go crazy. Okay, look. But if the dog doesn't have any desire to retrieve and isn't willing to do it when he's a year and a half, 2 years old, you know what? Put him inside and go get you another one and be more involved in the training.
Like Mortimer Duke said, it's in the blood.
Yeah, it's in the blood. And it doesn't take that long. When I watched LSU, and Jimmy probably would agree, and Frank, in that first game against Mississippi State, they just were completely lost and out of sync. And that's just teaching. They should know that. And I know they had a big key defensive lineman that opted out this year. But look, that stuff happens. LSU should have been ready. Okay, hey, Frank, hold with us if you don't mind. And Jimmy Hodge also up in Chicago. Frank Duffy in Atlanta. Duffy Realty, Frank and Rhonda Duffy. Hey, Frank, tell them real quick about your website down there, because Atlanta, big area, about 6 million people, 22 counties, and a lot of voting machines.
Yeah, DuffyRealtyATL.com. And if you're ready to get the hell out, let me know. I'll put a sign in your yard, because let me tell you, turning red to purple, I got to think I'm going to get a lot of clients in the next year.
Absolutely. Hey, let's take a quick commercial break. Let me say this too. We are broadcasting live from one of our sponsors, which I love. I have sat in this drive through at Corky's on Poplar at White Station since 1984, probably 350, 400 times. And many of those times picking up barbecue for the family. Corky's Barbecue. Hey, Thanksgiving, guys, is coming up next Thursday. Corky's has the hickory smoked whole turkeys, $39.99. Hickory smoked turkey breast, $39.99. Spiral sliced honey glazed ham, $49.99. Now look, the turkeys and the hams are cold. Turkeys, hams, they will feed a feast of up to 8 to 10 people. Jethro Bodine, if you invite Jethro, he will be full. Okay, order and prepay by Monday, November 23rd, and you will receive $5 off. Order online at corkysbbq.com. That's CORKYSBBQ.com. Enter coupon code THANKS in all caps to receive the discount. Pickup dates are November 24th and November 25th. And check out the Corky's website on our Sidelines.live homepage. Corky's Barbecue, sponsor of Sidelines. I'm telling you, I'm going to try to get the pit master to come out here, Jimmy and Frank, and everybody listening, talk about it, because I'm smelling it. Now I know why my dogs just salivate when because I can smell the food being cooked out here. We're in between mealtime, a little bit after 4 o'clock. But anyway, we're going to be with you till 5 o'clock today, 6 o'clock on the East Coast with more college football. A long way to go. We'll be right back. Hey, Frank, Jimmy, I'll be right back, okay?
Hey, and
right.
Rob.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob, I'm going to let you know, I'm going to start driving because I pulled over. I'm short of Chattanooga, but I got to try and get this back before it gets too dark. So if you need to drop me because of the noise, just go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're Frank. Hey, Frank, we love having you. It's fun as hell having you on here.
Hey,
Jimmy, Jimmy's.
I'm in the RV, so it might be a little louder than what normal.
No.
So if you need to drop me, don't worry.
No, I just needed you to have your volume up at about 90%. That's the whole key. That's what Nigel keeps. Yeah, we're good. Hey, y'all, I'm going to be right back here in about 30 seconds. Be right back.
Hey, Frank, one of my favorite stories was when Huey Long was the governor. I guess this was back in the 20s. He was absolutely livid after a loss to Arkansas. He said, "There's no way we should ever be losing to them because we got more paved roads than they do."
Hey, we had more concrete in Tiger Stadium than they had their entire state.
Yeah. I have no doubt. As a matter of fact, they used to joke. I saw a documentary on the ACC network earlier this year about Florida State, and when Bowden first got there, and they talked about how it was like this Doak Campbell Stadium was this gigantic erector set, and now it's the largest continuous brick building in the world. It's like entirely brick, Yeah. and I'll never forget this. You'll probably remember this because LSU was in that span. But I believe it was in 1980 that Florida State played a 5-game string. They played at Ohio State, at LSU, at Pitt,
we played
at Michigan. Yeah, at Michigan and at Nebraska.
Bobby Bowden said, "Anywhere, anybody, anytime." We played them 4 straight in Tiger Stadium: 80, 81, 82, and 83.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, one year he said they played in his first or second year there. They played in 9 homecoming games.
Well, one of the greatest LSU games I ever witnessed was beating Florida State for the win to go through Orange Bowl in '82.
Pit guy to get on the radio because we do our Friday broadcast and the podcast goes all over the place, and people were pushing the online ordering.
I was at that fiasco in '82. The Bears, the game where Risher was the quarterback, and they had the 2 freshman running backs, James and Hilliard. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we held Walter Lewis to minus 35 yards in the first half.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. Josh Ward, man, we downloaded my phone, guys, Monday night to back it up, and then Tuesday morning it went dark. Wednesday afternoon we were back on the grid, but man, be careful if you're backing up your phone. Apple's doing some kind of iOS software update, so I've lost Josh's, all of his contact information has just disappeared from my phone, and I don't know how to reach him. I mean, this is crazy. So I'm gonna keep, man, and then at 4:30 I've got I'm going to have Jason Caldwell from Inside the Auburn Tigers. Frank, if you can stay with us for another 11 minutes or so, man, that would be great. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, you got it, brother.
Okay. Let's see. We're going to be coming back on in just a minute, Audrey. Okay. Okay. Yep. Here we go. Tell me when. Wow. Okay. Rob Brown back here with you. And hey, Frank, I want to tell you what, you want to get hungry and talk about some good food. We're about to be talking with the pit master from here at Corky's Barbecue. Now, are you the? Let me double check. Can you talk about the process of the cooking back there? Okay. All right, we're going to talk a little about this barbecue, guys. And we're here at Corky's Barbecue on Poplar, right at White Station in East Memphis, and that's where also their headquarters is. And they're a sponsor here for Sidelines. And I've been out here smelling this for the last hour and a half. It smells really, really good. Talk about the process. And we've got listeners all over the place here in Memphis, the Mid-South, all over the country. We're on the web, sidelines.live, and they can order online when we do a lot of the shipping. Y'all have a 115,000 square foot commissary down by the airport in Memphis with a USDA inspector on site. I ordered some about a month ago when I was down at Seacrest down on 30A on the Gulf Coast. It was awesome. Ribs, you get a fudge pie. I mean, the pie, we could have eaten 6 of those pies, but talk about what goes on in that kitchen back there. Cause guys, if there's a barbecue heaven, we're in it.
Just some great cooking, slow cooking with our hickory wood. We do it every day. Just depends on, far as from our shoulders to our ribs and to our beef. Everything's got that Memphis taste to it. Trust me, you come to Memphis, Corky's is the place to come to.
That's right. What you cook over, how long is the process of cooking? Say, we got the butts, the shoulders, the ribs, you got the spare St. Louis style. There's all kind of different styles, but talk about your style of barbecue back there. Cause it really, when you drive down Poplar back and forth every day, there's always a traffic jam over here. And it smells, it's intoxicating. It smells so good.
Well, thank you. When we cook our shoulders for 18 hours, we slow cook them, just like we do our ribs. We cook them for 5 hours, slow cook it, and then just the process, everything we do it with love, and I think that's what makes people come back to Corky's, just how we cook our food.
Well, you're a Memphis tradition since 1984. And I know that, the ownership group here, these people are dedicated. They are perfectionists. And, Robert, the pit master, I think he passed away about a year ago, was there for a long time. And those commercials were great. They would show him working over there tirelessly. And tell people right now, no matter where they are, if they can get that same Corky's taste. It is vacuum packed when it leaves the commissary, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. No matter where you get it from, Texas, Arkansas, Memphis, it doesn't matter. It's going to be that same taste regardless.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, get on the website, go to Corky's Barbecue. It's on the sidelines.live website. And you got all these hickory smoked whole turkeys, turkey breast, the spiral sliced honey glazed hams. So y'all are going to be Thanksgiving headquarters, man.
Real busy. A lot of turkey, a lot of ham. A lot of everything.
Hey, and you can get the sauces and the rubs everywhere too. And this stuff, it is fantastic. Listen, tell people your name real quick and we'll let you get back to work.
Oh, my name is Ramon.
Hey, Ramon, thank you so much for coming out here. We're over here in the corner, been smelling it. Now I feel like my dog is, they're out there and no wonder when they come by here, they start going crazy. But and then your barbecue spaghetti, by the way, is everything that you got here is incredible. We love it. Hey, thanks, Ramon, coming back out here. Appreciate it. Hey, Frank Duffy and Jimmy Hodge, you don't know what it's like being in here. It smells so good. I'm having a food. It is incredible.
I bet you Ramon could even make Razorback tenders.
Yeah. Hey, look, man, you could certainly try. Frank, you're driving the RV right now. You said you're near Chattanooga, and look, man, tomorrow I know you'll be watching that game over in Fayetteville.
Yes.
Again, LSU, when you come off a national championship, and sometimes this happens, a team struggles, but again, I've never seen so much personnel off of one team gone from one year to the next. But last year, you live there in Jasper, north of Atlanta, up in the mountains. Last year, LSU signed 3 of the top 12 players in the state of Georgia. I mean, their brand is nationwide, isn't it?
It is, and I'll tell you what, these 2 kids that we got from one high school, Marietta High School, BJ Ojolari and Eric Gilbert, these kids are going to be absolute studs in the SEC. In fact, BJ already had one night, I think it was the South Carolina game, when he had 3 sacks in one night, and Eric Gilbert's going to be the prototype of tight end. And both those kids, like you said, are in Georgia's backyard. We are absolutely a brand. Yes, it is disappointing. Believe me, nobody bleeds purple and gold more than me. As I'm sitting here driving Bengal 1 between Chattanooga and Nashville, I would like nothing more not to have to be dealing with these 3 losses. But I honestly, I will tell you, if you ask every LSU fan right now for the vacation of a lifetime that you took last year, does it suck to have to pay the credit card bill this year? Willing to pay the credit card bill for the trip you took? Absolutely. To a man, we would do that. I promise you. Now, come next year, yeah, you better have this talent and gear, because let me tell you something. We're already a number 4 recruiting team again here. So they're going to get this grace year this year because of the cluster that 2020 is, and the fact that we're still drunk from champagne from 10 months ago, to be quite honest with you.
Well,
yes, it will be a problem come next year if we see the confusion, the players being out of place, the lack of effort on the line play. Again, happy feet back there in the pocket. Yeah, there's going to be problems. But I really honestly will tell you, as an LSU fan that bleeds purple and gold, they're getting a pass this year. Coach O can do no wrong. We'll see what happens next year.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hey, and Frank, before we let you go, I know you're on the show with us a lot. You know LSU. You and Jimmy Ott are our LSU tag team as good as it gets. Let's talk real quick. College football. We cover. We're here in Memphis. The Memphis Tigers this year. They have had. You talk about a lack of continuity. Their first game, they beat Arkansas State. They get 4 weeks off to go play on the road at SMU. Lose that one 30-27. And then they got another couple of weeks off. And they're defensively, they have really struggled this year. We have Glenn Rogers, former Tiger player who coaches at MUS here at one of the local high schools. Glenn played 9 years of pro football. He's madder than a wet hen about the poor defense. And it's not just Memphis, but you look at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin, they know they've pretty much got to score every time they've got the ball. And they did that against South Carolina as they sent Will Muschamp walking the green mile. But, I like Will Muschamp a lot. But, hey, he's got now $20 million in buyouts to be fired from Florida and South Carolina. It's not like he's going to struggle.
If you can get it.
Yeah. And it's not like he's going to be struggling to pay the light bill. But what are your thoughts, Frank, about the lack of defense? And I don't know, you, Jimmy, I'll let you answer after this, after Frank. They're getting 15, 20 minutes a day of actual contact. I think that might be a problem.
Yeah, I think that was a problem. I think the fact that you had no spring ball, because look, some of these kids are coming in, they're high school studs, but when you get on that college field, it's a totally different thing. So they had no tackling, they had no fundamentals. You didn't really have the scrimmages. So I think that's why you're seeing that. But again, you got to remember, look at the offenses that have changed in the SEC. I mean, no longer it's a 3 yards and a cloud of dust and a pack of Chesterfield. I mean, this is a totally different deal, right? And so the lack of defense, with the exception of Georgia, and frankly, the way Georgia looked the last 2 weeks, I don't think they can hang their hat on it against their play against Alabama and against Florida. So, but you look at Alabama, you look at Auburn, take away our pitiful effort against them. LSU's defense, God, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, nobody's playing defense. Tennessee, I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, that's what we used to hang our hat on. So, and look, it's not a dearth of talent. There's talent on every defensive side of the ball in this conference. Top talent, 5-star, 4-star talent. So you cannot blame the fact that it's not talent. It's schemes, and I think it's the offenses that they're going up against. And I love your point, Rob, earlier about the fact that, historically we're ranked 9, 10, 11, and 12. Could you imagine what we would be if we wasn't killing each other each week?
Yeah.
That's the power of the SEC.
Yeah. And since 1892, when we started playing football down here in the South, it is just, it's a culture, it's a way of life. And let me, that culture, as an LSU fan, the tailgating experience, whether you're in Baton Rouge or you all take it on the road, defense travels and great food travels. And that's what we love. That's what keeps us going. Jimmy, up in Chicago, you get down south, you're from, Clinton, Tennessee. You went to high school there, right? Knoxville. You've grown up. You're an Alabama guy, but you love college football. We all love the game. So, hey, let me say this. Frank, I know you've got to get off here. You're driving. I love it. Bingle 1. Be careful. And we'd love to have you back on the show tomorrow. We'll be on again 8 to 10, Sports 56, WHBQ.com in the morning. So if you can call in tomorrow.
You got it, brother.
Yeah, I'll be back in touch with you tonight. But, man, great report. We really appreciate it. And I love what you said about LSU. Hey, but that brand is so powerful. Tough times don't last forever, but tough people do.
We ain't going nowhere. Go Tigers.
Yeah, I know that. All right. Thanks so much. I want to say something real quick. We're going to be joined in a moment by Justin Wynn, general manager of Red River Ford over in Wynn, Arkansas. But again, before that, Paul Gattuso's on here with us. And if you've ever been to restaurants in Memphis over the years, like Pete and Sam's, you've seen Paul over there. He's at Corky's now. You talk about comfortable. It's like watching the Tonight Show back in the day. There's Johnny and there's Ed McMahon. Love having you in here with us. I love Corky's. We just had Ramon from back in the kitchen talking about the process here. 15 hours cooking those shoulders, 5 hours on the ribs. You are the man that everybody sees when they come in here to Corky's. It's in between mealtime right now, 3 to 5. Only my late grandmother used to eat about 4:30. She grew up on a farm up in Hohenwald, Tennessee. But look, this place, the atmosphere, the energy, the karma, it is incredible. Talk about what it's like, because we've got listeners all over the place. And if they like what they hear from you, and I know they will, they can also order online. But talk about the whole culture of Corky's.
Well, we opened in 1984. I've been working with Corky's for 16 and a half years, but I've been eating with them since 1984. So that says something about the Memphis barbecue. Now, we cook a spare rib instead of a loin back rib. And I think it's easier to cook, but it's meatier, and I think we do a great job on it.
Bottom line, even when you go to the drive-thru, and I've been coming up here since the mid-'80s. I remember when I was in school at Auburn, every function that we had, you went to Corky's, okay? And even the barbecue spaghetti is delicious. Everything that you get, that's hard to do, and it doesn't matter where you go. And you've got talk about the ownership group. I know that John Dobbs Jr., who's also involved with Red River Ford Toyota over in Wynn, Arkansas, is part of this group. And the Peltz family, and the Woodmans and all, great people. I know young Jake, who worked over here from the time he was 11 or 12 years old. Yeah, he was a Pike down at Auburn. But I want to tell you one thing. Everybody works from the bottom up, and everybody around here has a tremendous amount of pride that this is a Memphis restaurant. It's a Memphis iconic restaurant. A lot of pictures of Elvis in here, but they go hand in hand with the Memphis experience, isn't it?
That's right. The families are all good. They've always taken care of their employees. But we do other things besides our barbecue. We have catfish, which is really good. Now we have what we call a Nashville hot bites, and they are delicious. I like to let guests try it when they come in and they eat one. They say, "Oh, I need to order one of those." So it's not just the barbecue, but it's a variety. We have brisket, which people love. Um, One thing I would like to improve on is our slaw. I don't care for our slaw. I think we had a great slaw when we started off. It had the celery seed in it, and that to me, that's a barbecue slaw. But over the years, it's changed, and maybe we ought to get some opinion on some of our guests that come in about the slaw.
Well, that's a great point. And again, people listening all over the place on the www.sidelines.live, the podcast, they go to the website. Your Corky's, your logo is up there 24/7. People click on the hyperlink. It goes there. They can have it shipped anywhere. And y'all got a 115,000 square foot commissary down by the airport. And you've also got a USDA inspector there on the spot. And that barbecue comes fresh. It is vacuum sealed. We just had a bunch delivered down to Seacrest down on 30A. We were down there. A bunch of my pledge brothers from Auburn went to Sigma News. We were down there back the weekend of October 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. And it was fantastic. I mean, and you want to eat the box that it comes in. And that says a lot. But I'm going to tell you what, being from Memphis, I travel a lot. I talk to people all over the place. We're known for our barbecue, and to stand out like Corky's does, it's not an accident. It's a lot of hard work, isn't it?
Absolutely. It is a lot of hard work. And people get here at 7:00 in the morning, fire the pit up and cook the ribs, but the shoulders, the brisket, that's all cooking overnight.
I'll tell you what, during the times when a lot of the restaurants were shut down for a long time, the drive-in, the line for this place was unbelievable, and it still is. You all have an incredibly loyal following, and you do so much. And no matter where you are, if you're from Memphis or you've ever lived in this area for a while and you moved away and you're homesick, Corky's will take care of all your problems. The only thing better would be having Elvis show up and play a concert for you. but Paul, thank you so much for coming out here with us. And man, we're over here in the corner. I did not even know about the Nashville bites, but I know about the catfish, some of the other stuff. But all of those can be shipped for you anywhere via FedEx within 48 hours.
I don't know about the bites. If we can ship those, that's something you have to come to Corky's to try.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, try is what everybody ought to be doing. And I know these Thanksgiving turkeys y'all got, we're going to talk about that some more too. But yeah, you're right. Ramon came out here. Those people in the kitchen got a ton of pride. So, hey, thank you so much for being with us. And hey, Jimmy Hodge is on here with us up in Chicago, National College Football contributor. And also Jason Caldwell has just called in from inside the Auburn Tigers. And we're going to talk some more college football. Tomorrow, Auburn and Tennessee are going to be teeing up 6:00 Central kickoff. Get your color TVs fired up, guys. Get that old Magnavox, Jimmy, in the old day. Remember, you would turn the thing on. Jason, you're old enough to remember this. You're from Sylacauga, and it would take about 2 minutes for the beam to come on. But, hey, been talking a lot about college football, Jason. We're sitting here at Corky's Barbecue. I know you've been to Memphis many, many times, and I'm going to tell you what, this place, it is, I'm salivating. I'm ready to eat as soon as we get off the air. Jason, look, 3 weeks ago, Auburn's last game, they beat LSU 48-11, largest margin of victory in series history. Frank Duffy was just on from Atlanta with us, Mr. LSU Tiger, talked about the state of mind of Auburn. And I know there are going to be some players that are not going to play, but we've been saying